In an era of giant 80-plus hour-long games competing to be the most realistic or cinematic, sometimes it's nice to just go back to the good old days of an action platformer that puts great care in making the most basic moveset work without any flaws. Kaze and the Wild Masks, developed by PixelHive and published by Soedesco, does just that, making no efforts to hide its love of 90s platforming giants, especially Donkey Kong Country. The level of polish in every minute detail, from the stage mechanics to the hit detection to the silly charm of sledding carrots, it all mimics the ethos of 90s rareware for a gratifying morsel of nostalgia. Kaze and the Wild Masks opens up with a brief animation showing the female protagonist rabbit, Kaze, visiting a ruin with her friend Hogo. Upon touching a mysterious ring, a curse is cast on the Crystal Islands and Hogo's life force is absorbed into the ring. Using his new ability, he teleports Kaze to safety in the nick of time, leaving her with the task of battling now mutated vegetables across the islands to undo the curse and save her friend. More details about the story and the antagonist are subtly revealed in artwork that you collect along your journey, but that's hardly the focus here. The opening level lets its bright pixel art shine, perhaps leading some to dismiss it as some bad licensed Looney Tunes game. But even though you can only jump, attack, and collect crystals along the way, kinda like one of those games, the Donkey Kong Country influence quickly becomes apparent. Kaze herself is the rabbit version of Dixie Kong, able to descend slowly while airborne by twirling her ears. Additionally, the letters K-A-Z-E can be collected just like spelling out Kong in the DK series. If that wasn't reminiscent enough of the beloved ape, there are also bonus rooms hidden behind foreground objects and fake walls, or even in death pits later on in the game, just like the hidden barrels in Donkey Kong Country. You're left with the task of finding 2 of these bonus rooms per level, collecting all of the letters to spell out Kaze, and collecting at least 100 purple crystals. But it's the Wild Masks mentioned in the game's title that add more life to the gameplay, with stages specifically designed around one of the 4 available. The Eagle Mask gives Kaze wings and a projectile attack that arcs, once again in a very similar fashion to Squawks and his peanut attack from Donkey Kong Country 2. Stages designed around this gameplay often involve dodging projectiles, battling wind physics, and weaving in between spiky brambles. The Shark Mask grants Kaze the ability to swim quickly underwater and use a torpedo dash attack with incredibly responsive controls. The Tiger Mask is the most technical, giving Kaze claws that can cling to walls and a dash attack that can be used while airborne, both of which feel straight out of the Mega Man X series. And finally, the Lizard Mask removes the player's directional movement control, making Kaze permanently run forward faster than normal, while granting the player the ability to double jump or nosedive while airborne. It is probably the hardest of the masks to master, but it's a welcome and gratifying challenge every time. The gameplay doesn't go any further than that, but the level design and stage mechanics make full use of this limited moveset in such a way that it never feels stale and it tests you for all you're worth. Nothing about Kaze and the Wild Masks is very original, but the developers at PixelHive have proudly stated it is meant to be a love letter to 90s platformers, and the care they put into the classic design choices shows wonderfully. There are slingshots that move like launch barrels in Donkey Kong's many barrel blast levels, Arctic winds that push Kaze in either direction, tricky tracks to trek along and keep up with, perilous elevator platforms that dump into deadly acid, ropes to shimmy along while dodging stationary vultures or mutant beats, tornadoes to outrun, and much more Donkey Kong goodness. Very rarely do any of these stage gimmicks repeat in other levels, so I found myself always anticipating the next stage in a similar fashion to the recent Ukulele in the Impossible Lair. Don't let the cartoony look fool you either. Whether you're a platforming veteran or not, you will die, and then you'll die again in Kaze and the Wild Masks. But the only frustration you'll feel is with yourself, and the drive to conquer each new challenge ramps up with each failure. And luckily, you can keep on trying as there are no lives in the game, as well as ultra-fast loads back to the checkpoints. Like the many games of old, some sections demand perfect timing, and they can only be conquered after you fail 8 times and memorize the traps that lay ahead. But with only 1 or 2 hits before death, depending on if you have Hogo's shield from a heart pickup or not, even knowing what's coming isn't always enough to save you from your own stupidity or fumbly fingers. But never does any challenge feel impossible, and the delight when you finally succeed is worth the pain, especially in those Lizard Mask stages, which become a beautiful speedrunning display when triumphant. In fact, the very design of every stage in this game is so precisely done that it welcomes going as fast as possible, making this a perfect title for future speedrun events. Among the frustration, however, are some excellent moments of relaxation, with great music and overall sound design. In particular, the fluid swimming in the shark mask stages and the flapping against the wind in the eagle stages evoke a sense of peace, especially when accompanied by the many subdued ambient songs of the game, which once again derive heavy inspiration from Donkey Kong Country. Just listen to this sample with its wonderful bass line backing the ambiance. One has to also appreciate the slight echo added to the sounds like the tiger's claws and the falling icicles, which enhances the sense of immersion in the Arctic mountain environments beautifully. Although you will definitely feel all of the nostalgic jabs Kaze and the Wild Masks throws in its beautifully polished and charming levels, there never seems to be the big uppercut finish. The game has a mere 4 worlds, but their suggested themes feel irrelevant, and their difficulty curve seems slightly off. World 1 is an easygoing, somewhat forgettable entry, and you don't get to use any of the masks until the 3rd level, which given the title and focus of the game, it seems somewhat strange to not introduce them immediately. Each world has only about 6 to 8 levels, so after a sampling of 2 of the masks halfway into World 1, you're already on to World 2. This second world suggests that it is a snow world, but in fact only 3 of the levels stay true to that, making the majority of them some random themes with no indication of winter at all, ending on forest fires and jack-o'-lanterns. I also found World 2 to have a big jump in difficulty with the introduction of the tiger mask and, later on, the lizard mask. In contrast, World 3 was much easier to get through, leaving me to question if it would have been better as the second world. It also tried a little harder to stay true to its theme of toxic caves, but it didn't quite sell it with the sky levels randomly mixed in. And the final world seemed to just be a collection of challenging ideas, leaving the whole package to just feel disconnected from any sort of themes. That said though, the 4 boss fights of the game are really fun, taking inspiration from not only Donkey Kong Country, but games like Rayman as well, and they make good use of the 4 masks at times. They also end with cool animated artwork as a reward. It's just a shame there are only 4 of these fights, and that they are against forgettable vegetables that are hard to tie down to any kind of world theme. The story has this same flaw of being unclear. Even after collecting all of the storyboard artwork, I couldn't tell you exactly why the animals are now masks, and why the final boss is what he is. I feel like this scattered compilation of story and levels will make this game harder to remember over time, unlike, for instance, the Kong family and their enemy King K. Rool. With only 4 worlds, 4 big bosses, and a small total of 31 stages, which is 9 levels less than the first Donkey Kong Country, there may not be enough meat to chew here to justify the $30 price tag for some people. However, depending on your skill level and interest in getting 100%, you will still spend somewhere between 5 and 8 hours with this game. And beyond that, every stage upon completion offers a time trial mode with online leaderboards similar to the Crash Bandicoot series. I definitely see the replay value in this title, and I highly expect it to appear in the speedrunning scene over the coming years due to its precise and responsive controls and the overall fun factor. The bottom line is Kaze and the Wild Masks delivers on what it sets out to do, and the presentation is immaculate, with soul-soothing pixel art, awesome natural atmospheres and weather effects, and a subdued soundtrack to keep you relaxed under pressure. Kaze herself fits right in with the wacky cast of 90s platforming icons, with her cool scarf and the way she keeps the mystic ring on her ear. But perhaps she needs to embrace her own identity a little more going forward. I had a blast playing this game, and PixelHive has definitely shown that they can make a great, very well-tested platformer. But I think a sequel could tie themes together a little bit better, make the masks feel less randomly placed around, and create more memorable boss characters and worlds. Kaze and the Wild Masks is a fantastic start to a new IP, and if you ever see it on sale, I'd say it is a must-play game for any Donkey Kong Country fans. I give it an 8 out of 10, and I'm thankful to have had the opportunity to play it. And thank you for watching.